Yep.
So everyone, welcome to BoomerWorks. We would like to welcome Derek Mildred to the stage here. Derek is a LinkedIn expert and coming in all the way from Australia. So Derek, take it away.
Okay, hello everybody. It's great to be here. Please let me know if you cannot see my shared screen with LinkedIn for Business at the start. Can everybody see that okay? Yep. First of all, there's a couple of different ways I describe LinkedIn. Number one, to me, LinkedIn is the world's largest database of businesses, their owners, and their employees. And when you think about it, that's exactly what it is. It has its social media side, and it also, which is obviously the news feed, and it also has your profile side. And your profile, you can customize that to pretty much any extent that you like. You can do a lot more with your LinkedIn profile than you can with your Facebook profile. And probably one of the most important aspects of your profile and everything that you do on LinkedIn is when you have somebody who wants to know more about you, they're interested in what you offer, what you provide as a business or a service, etc., and they look at your LinkedIn profile, the question becomes, what are they going to see? So that's what my overview today is primarily all about. So let's have a look. Okay, LinkedIn, the world's largest database, etc. We've been through that. Okay, it's also a tool that you use to connect with people within your target audience, to get the conversation started, to establish, build, and nurture those relationships with your target audience so that you can build on those relationships. You can strengthen those relationships with them. It's great for building your business as well as your brand online, and I'll delve more into that in detail in just a moment. And it's also good for positioning you and your business as an authority within your industry. So when people want to know more about you, where are they going to look? Obviously, your LinkedIn profile. So when people first open up your LinkedIn profile, there are three things that immediately stand out to them. Number one is your banner image. Number two is your face pic. And number three is your headline. So basically, I describe the way that people should structure or write their LinkedIn profile utilizing what I call the WIFT formula, which stands for what's in it for them. So here are some resources that can help you. Okay, you can design and build your banner or header image with snapper.com. It's very similar to canva.com, which many people are probably aware of. I used Canva for many years. It's a great platform. Then I switched over to snapper.com for one reason. It allows you to download for free a high-res image. Discover your face pic with photofeeler.com. Face pics are a little bit of a tough one. Everybody obviously wants to put their best face pic forwards, and sometimes it's hard to figure out, is this the best face pic for you to actually use? So there's a way you can actually test your face pic, and it's with photofeeler.com. And what you literally do is you upload your face pic to PhotoFeeler, and members of the public will actually vote on it, and they will give you some feedback on it. Okay, so this is valuable information when you're trying to figure out, is that the right or the best face pic for you to use? Simply just go to www.photofeeler.com. Okay, Canva is what you can also use to build a banner image. And the other thing with face pictures, etc., is it's generally believed that one should have a clear, white, non-distracting background. And with remove.bg, you can remove the background that surrounds your face pic very easily. You literally just download it, or upload it, I should say, to remove.bg, which will work its magic literally in less than a minute for you and remove that distracting background from your face pic. Okay, so here's Photo Feeler, which we've already looked at. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do you structure your headline? And it's really simple. Here's a formula for you, which starts with I help, and then you detail your target audience, your specific niche that you prefer to work with, achieve either their problem solved or their most desired result. So I help your target audience achieve a particular result with you, with your unique products or services or solution. Okay, so that's the basics for your headline. And then you can polish and perfect on that. And I'll show you a little bit more about that very shortly. Okay, so your LinkedIn profile should include the following: a banner or header image with the dimensions of 1584 by 396 pixels, and ultimately try to include a key benefit statement aimed directly towards your target audience. Your banner image is a little bit like the cover of a book. It's one of the first things that people see when they open up your LinkedIn profile. And if you can imagine, regarding the cover of a book, if you can imagine you walk into a bookstore, it's the cover of that book, it's the title of that book that grabs your attention. Okay, so you'll grab that book off the shelf, you'll flick through it, you'll read further and decide if you're going to take a step further and purchase that book. Well, a banner image is one of the first things that people see when they open your profile that entices them to want to read further, to want to know more about you. Use either canva.com or snapper.com to build your header image. Test your face pic and how responsive people are to it using photofeeler.com. Use the headline formula and include in your headline a key benefit statement aimed towards your target audience. In your headline, you're allowed up to 219 characters. So I strongly recommend that you use as many of those as possible. That will give you very close to 4 complete lines for your headline. Okay, as much information as possible in both your summary or about section up to 2,600 characters and your experience section up to 2,000 characters. Okay, try to include some social proof, such as a testimonial, case study, or similar. Social proof I'll talk to you about more very shortly. And then try to make it as easy as possible for people to contact you by adding a call to action and your contact details at the end of both your about and experience sections. Okay, so I'm a firm believer, when people read through your experience section, they're reading about how you can help them with the solution that they're looking for or the services that they might be interested in. Try to make it as easy as possible for them to be able to reach out and get in touch with you after they've read those details about how you can actually help them. Try to add media such as articles, PDFs, hosted on SlideShare, or images, certificates, even videos linked across from your YouTube channel to the lower section of your either experience sections, or now it's in the featured section that you can add to your profile. And you can also find many of my LinkedIn tips at 30 tips in 30 days or Got to Love LinkedIn. Okay, so here's a LinkedIn profile checklist that will help you. It's basically your things to do list. Okay, so set up an exclusive Gmail account for everything related to your LinkedIn. You've probably wondered about how do you manage all of those notifications you get on LinkedIn, e.g. when somebody makes a comment on one of your posts, somebody sends you a message. I actually recommend setting up an exclusive Gmail account only for your LinkedIn notifications. It just keeps everything in one place. It's much, much easier. Okay, know your target audience, your preferred target market, the niche that you like to work with, and start building relationships with them, okay? And I top 3 main keywords using wordtracker.com, because just like Google, Facebook, and YouTube, LinkedIn is also a search engine. So you can use those top 3 keywords related to your niche throughout your LinkedIn profile, in your headline, in the top 3 skills on your skills section, throughout your about and experience sections, and this will help to improve where your results. Okay. Do you have social proof in the form of either recommendations or testimonials, case studies, or a guarantee? Let me ask you, when you make a purchase online, when you previously purchased something from that decision is social proof. They will look around for the social proof, and importantly, most people will check the quality of that social proof and how much of it there is. And it's exactly the same when people want to know more about you and the services or products that you provide or the type of business that you're in. So I believe that you can never have too much social proof, and it's a vital factor in the marketing, in the business development of you and your business online. Upload your preferred profile picture to Photo Feeler and have it voted on, gain some feedback, figure out if it's a good profile picture for you to use. Design and build your header image using Canva, Snapper, Banner Snack is another one, or similar. And test and polish your LinkedIn profile headline using Share-Through. There's a video on that in 30 tips and 30 days. Okay, and ultimately try to include a key benefit statement aimed towards your target audience. Okay, the about words, and it's actually up to 2,600 characters, which is a typo there. Okay, include, start your about section with an attention grabbing headline. When you look at your LinkedIn profile and your about section is actually closed, you'll only see literally the top 2 lines of your about section. And so when you think about it, your objective is to get the viewer or reader of your profile to open up that about section, to expand it and to want to read further. So you can do that with either because it does display a little bit differently. And in many cases, you'll find only about 2/3 of that first line of your about section will actually display on your mobile phone. So take that into account when you're setting up your attention grabbing headline. There we go. Yep. Okay, what do you do, or what do you offer? What problems do you solve? What value do you add? Think about what the viewer or reader of your profile, what your prospects are going to see when they open up your LinkedIn profile, because we want to encourage them to want to know more about you. Add bullet points about what you offer, the areas that you specialize in, what you are passionate about. Add social proof, such as case studies, recommendations, testimonials, etc. Finish your about section with a call to action and your contact details, including your website, email, phone number, etc. And then add media, such as videos, certificates, PDFs, images, to the lower area of your about section, or to your featured section, which is now actually the preferred place for media after your about section. Okay, your experience section, let's have a look at that. Okay, test your experience section headline again using Share-Through. Write a draft of your experience section again using your top 3 keywords. You're allowed up to 2,000 characters in there, so I strongly recommend that you use as many of those as possible. Start your experience section again with an attention-grabbing headline, or tell them exactly what you do or specialize in. What do you do or offer? What problems do you solve, etc.? What value do you add? Add bullet points about what you offer. And then again, social proof, accomplishments, recommendations, etc. And then again, finish your experience section with a call to action, your contact details, including your website, email, phone number, and so forth. And then add media. And that media just makes your profile a little bit more interesting to the viewer, to the reader of your profile. Okay. And that media can be videos linked across from YouTube. They can be your own videos that you can upload directly. They can be PDFs, PowerPoints that you can save as PDFs and you can upload, case studies, certificates, images, basically anything that you like. Okay, so let's look further into setting up your LinkedIn profile. Your custom URL up the very top of your LinkedIn profile to the top right is where you can set up your custom URL. It's very easy to do. Literally just click and add your name and you can remove that coding at the end of your URL. Complete your contact details, including your date of birth, your website, and your social media. You're allowed up to 3 external links to website or social media, etc. Email, phone number. Try to make it easy as possible for people to be able to reach out and get in touch.
By the way, when they say date of birth, they mean month and day, not year.
Yes.
It has to do with allowing people to say happy birthday to you. So just
exactly. And actually, while we're on the subject of that, I would probably send out between 20 and 30 happy birthday messages a day. And those happy birthday messages are a way that you can build on a conversation. You can build on a relationship with that particular person. So they're well worthwhile doing. They're one of the tools that LinkedIn gives you to communicate with people, to start that conversation with people, to build on that relationship with people. You have your happy birthday messages. You also have your congratulations on the work anniversary messages and congratulations on a new role message. So those are opportunities to start a conversation with somebody or to continue building on the relationship with somebody. Add your skills. You're allowed up to 50 of them, and your top 3 skills should match your top 3 keywords. Complete your education section, include appropriate subjects or studies, qualifications, specialties, etc. Accomplishments, publications, honors, courses, projects, certifications, etc. Okay, social proof. Make sure you've added media, including testimonials and case studies to your profile. These are vital. And if you haven't got them, you've literally just got to get comfortable asking for them. And I'll talk more about that very shortly. Okay. Okay, as a job seeker or if you're in business, social proof is one of the most important sections of your LinkedIn profile. And unfortunately, it is neglected by many. So this creates an opportunity for you to have a stronger impact, to stand out on or upon the target audience. Okay, ask recent clients, customers, colleagues, employers, past and present, people you know for a written recommendation on your LinkedIn profile. The more that you have, the better. And one way of actually doing that is you might get on the phone to a previous employer, somebody who you still have a good standing, a good relationship with, or a work colleague, for example, and you could say something to them along the lines of, I'm wondering if you could help me, please. I'm trying to increase the number of recommendations on my LinkedIn profile. Would you mind giving me a recommendation? And if you ask them nicely, somewhat like that, you'll find in most cases, people's reply will be along the lines of, sure, happy to help. Okay. So then you reply with, okay, I'll make it easy for you. I'll send them a link. You then visit their LinkedIn profile and you can send them a link requesting a recommendation. Send them a request for a recommendation link by clicking on the more in the drop-down section of their LinkedIn profile. There you have it. Okay, get your skills endorsed. You can also endorse other people's skills and ask people to endorse yours. The easiest way to get your skills endorsed is whenever I connect with somebody new, I visit their profile and I will usually endorse anywhere from 3 to half a dozen or so of their skills. And I will send them a message saying, hi, I hope you don't mind that I endorsed your skills. And that's just a way of starting the relationship on a much nicer note. Because anybody that you are connected to can endorse your skills and vice versa. The skills, they have some weight to them, but what really matters, what really has an impact on people, what really has a lot more authenticity, a lot more credibility is your recommendations. They are a much more powerful form of social proof. Follow companies, organizations that you're interested in, particularly via their company pages. If you have a look at, if there's a particular company that you're interested in doing some business with, or you'd like to build on a relationship with them, visit the profile of the person that you're wanting to build that relationship with, but then also visit the company page, because a lot of people who post on their company page do not get a lot of interaction with that content on their company page. So this then creates an opportunity for you to be able to stand out by liking and commenting on their posts of their company page. Follow the relevant hashtags that interest you also. This will help you to narrow down specific segments of your audience. Okay, I promised you a little bit about social proof. We've already spoken about recommendations. And as I mentioned earlier, you can never have too much. So let's look at that a little bit further. So what actually is social proof? Testimonials, recommendations, reviews, case studies. And here is a formula that will help you to develop your own case study. You would identify and describe a particular problem that is experienced by your target market, your target audience, or people within your target market or target audience. And then you would detail the specific solution that you provided, the results that were achieved by your client, and then culminating with a testimonial from your client. Now, really importantly, with case studies, do not include any pricing, okay? For the simple reason, when you start forwarding your case studies to other prospects that you're building a relationship with, you do not want those prospects making any kind of price-based decision before you've had the opportunity to take the conversation to the next level and discuss your services with them further. I hope that makes sense. Okay, it's a good idea to try and get as much social proof as possible. And the key is you've just got to get comfortable asking for recommendations, testimonials, reviews as an integrated part of your business development, your client relationship and experience. You just have to ask, okay? Okay, so by now your profile should also have the rating, which is the highest level you can have when setting up your LinkedIn profile. Okay, time 3, adding connections. Add connections. When you add connections, as I said earlier, LinkedIn is a huge database, 780 million people. And here is how you can add connections and search for people within your target audience. So try to refine your search as much as possible with the search filters available to you. And here is the correct way to add connections. Open up their profile. Click on request or connect. And then you should see a box and add a note or a personalized request to connect to that section there where you can add a note. This is key. You're allowed up to 300 characters for your personalized request to connect message. And when you're happy with your request to connect, just click on send. And by sending a personalized request to connect message, you will have more people who actually approve your requests to connect and more of the right people who are a match for your target audience. Okay, so when it comes to content, to position you and your brand as an authority within your industry, to build the know, like, and trust factor of your audience towards you. And it's also a great way to establish, build, and nurture the relationship towards your target audience. The best advice I can give you is to be genuine and authentic. The best content that you can post is to add value without selling. You may like to write that down. This is key, okay? There's an unwritten rule on LinkedIn that you do not sell on LinkedIn. And the reason for this, it's really simple. It's too early in the conversation. You will have experiences, many of you have probably had them already, where you get some kind of sales pitch inside your inbox on LinkedIn, okay? And most people react to this in the same way. They cannot get away from it fast enough. And the reason, it's too early in the conversation. So let's look at what to post. A personal philosophy post, a personal experience or personal story post, a lifestyle post, what you enjoy doing in your spare time, a professional post, before and after, FAQs, results, a professional industry post, how-to style posts, industry authority posts, videos where you can portray your areas of expertise, selfie pictures or videos, etc. And so there's a lot of variety there that will help you with what you can post. Okay, let's have a look at the social selling index. Now, I'm just going to pause that for a minute. Okay, LinkedIn will actually score your efforts, and it's called the SSI, or Social Selling Index. Hang on. And here's where you'll find it here. Or just Google LinkedIn Social Selling Index. Okay. As you can see here, it gives you 4 components of your score: establish your professional brand, find the right people, engage with insights, and build on relationships. And you'll find that any score above 70 is a relatively good score. Okay, and there's a shot of my profile from recently and a little bit about myself. If you'd like to reach out to me, feel free to reach out for me on LinkedIn, or just search for Derek Mildred. Okay, or just go to my website, which is results-formula.com. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up the Zoom for any questions. Okay. All right, so there's bound to be some questions there, and happy to help. And so any questions you have, feel free to ask right now. Hello, Giselle. How are you?
Oh, and you pronounced my name perfectly.
Oh, good.
My question is, there's a lot there that don't have a bunch of staff. Is there a short list that you would recommend, you know?
Okay, probably there's 2 ways I can answer that. Number one, your LinkedIn profile, just like your life, just like your career, is an ongoing work in progress. Okay, it's never going to be 100% perfect. And occasionally, as time goes on, you're going to make changes or updates or improvements to your profile. Okay, and the other thing too is you will see on other people's profiles, they might have something on their profile and you say, hey, that looks really interesting. I'd like to add something like that to mine. Okay, which is where you might come up with a further update to add to your profile. It could be literally anything, and that's okay. So to further answer your question, what the three things that I would recommend is start at the top of your profile: your banner image, your face pic, and your headline. Those are the first three things that people usually see when they open up your profile. Your about section, it can take a little bit of work, okay? And you're going to chop and change it, okay? So what your about section says about you today is going to be different probably in a year's time. Okay, because you'll make updates and improvements to that as time goes by. And it's exactly the same with your experience section. So the key is just get started and slowly work on it, slowly improve it, and eventually, or as time goes on, it'll really start to take some shape and look really good.
Thank you. I had myself muted.
That's all right. Okay. Now, there must be some other questions. Happy to help. Any other questions?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Mohammed. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Actually, the presentation was really great, and I have one small question regarding social proof. As you
Yes.
have mentioned, so I really didn't get the how to get social proof, like for the like for example, if I or anyone launch one product, so how he get social proof immediately, like because it would be hard for people to believe in that product or in that service.
Ask as many people as you can. You've just got to get comfortable asking. If you've got people who have already used your product or your service, ask them for some social proof.
Oh, okay. Maybe I can talk with my friends and make them use that product and then ask them to give a social proof. Is that
Perfect.
okay?
Perfect. That's a good place to start.
Okay, great. Actually, the presentation was great. So, would it be saved on the Boomers
Yes.
page?
Yes, this is being recorded right now, and then I will upload it to the BoomerWorks.org page under the training section, and then it'll be under marketing your business. That's where the video will show up.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
I'll actually send a PDF of the presentation through to Shira very shortly.
And so we can also put the PDF in our download section, which is at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
That includes the checklist. It'll make it much easier for everybody.
Okay, thanks a lot.
My pleasure. Any other questions? Anybody else have another question?
I actually would like to comment on something. So you mentioned in your laundry list, Derek, about recommendations. One of the things that I like to share with people to encourage them to do is when you're reaching out to somebody to recommend you for your work, make sure that they are speaking to your brand. Because a lot of times people will recommend sort of generically, but if it's off brand, if they're talking about something that that isn't as important to your brand, it could be a little bit of brand confusion, right? So when you're asking them for a testimonial, it's always good to say, look, thank you so much for agreeing to write one. Maybe look at my about section to see what I've highlighted there, some of the things that I offer, some of my value proposition, or you could even talk them through it, right? Just actually have a conversation, say what aspects of our work together did you most enjoy? And then maybe guide them a little bit. Oh, that's the area that I'd really love for you to focus on, because that's really something that I've been trying to communicate to my clients, and that would really help to underscore my brand, and people will be happy to do it. So,
yeah. Completely agree. Anybody else have any questions that they'd like to ask? Yes.
Everyone does.
Lamperis, is that correct? Am I pronouncing your name correctly? How are you? Hello, Anne. Sorry, Anne. Sorry.
Anne,
yes.
you're on mute.
Anne, you're muted. We cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you,
Okay,
Anne.
great,
Sorry.
great. I was driving in my car. I didn't want you to have that background noise. But I'm home now.
Okay, great.
I'm not sure if this question relates to branding, but I believe it might. So if you don't care to respond, that's your prerogative, of course. My question, I work in a fairly new specialty, language training for the labor force. I customize training to job performance for compelling return on investment, but people are not, companies are not used to what results one can get from this kind of customized training, or that they need to pay for it. So I spend a good deal of time in my relationship building, just educating people about the specialty and what I can do for them. My challenge, how do I move from free educational conversations to monetizing a conversation, or the next step where they start to pay? When do I start the meter ticking? And how do I do that in a way that's not offensive?
Okay. Couple of points that I'd like to cover there. Number one, LinkedIn it's a database. It's a tool that you use to get the conversation started, to build on those relationships, so that when the time is right, you can take that conversation to the next level, which is actually away from LinkedIn.
Yeah,
That
okay.
next level can be a face-to-face meeting, a phone call, a Zoom call, an invitation to an event, seminar, webinar, networking event, etc. Okay. And it's when you take that conversation away from LinkedIn, that is where you go more in depth into the services that you provide, the fees that you charge, etc. Okay. And one of the best strategies that I've seen work very well is when you are talking to people about the services that you provide, or the products that you provide, and the fees that you charge, give them a couple of different options at least. At least 2, sometimes even 3 different options. And then ask them a question about which one of those options do they think would be most suited to them. Okay? And what they come back to you with will then give you an indication as to what you talk about with them further.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. And then the key, whenever you are talking to anybody in a business situation, you're building up the relationship, you discuss the services that you provide, and then you've got to be prepared. You've got to basically have the confidence in what you do to ask a closing question. Okay. And that is the question where you're either asking for the deal, you're asking for the order, you're asking them when they would like you to get started. And when you ask that question, there is a number 1 golden rule, which is you ask the closing question and then you do not say a word. You wait for them to respond. Okay. And what the response they give you will indicate where you go next.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes.
Okay. Now, the only exception to that rule, I should point out, is in a seminar or a webinar. Okay, where you're presenting to a group of people, and the closing strategy at the end of a seminar or a webinar, you are literally directing people where to go to order or where to go to purchase.
Okay.
Okay, that's the only exception.
Thank you, Connie. I'm taking notes. I didn't mean to just
That's all right. That's all right.
leave the dead space in the air. Thank you very kindly.
That's right. My pleasure. And have I solved that for you?
You've given me a lot to think about. Yeah, I think this is all a process, and every amount of input helps me become more refined in how I would proceed. Yeah,
I think the key is just to get out there and talk to more and more people. And the more and more people that you talk to, the more comfortable you will become, the more confident, the more competent you will become with what you are doing, what you're offering, and talking to people, presenting to people, showing people. And there's an old saying, and that is the best salespeople in the world, they don't actually sell. They just talk to people. Okay. Pretty much everybody out there has had the experience where at one stage or another in their life, they've been sold to. Okay. Yes. It could be the usual saying, I hope we haven't got any of them here, is the used car salesman. Okay. All right. The high pressure used car salesman kind of situation. And people are not very comfortable with that. People don't like being sold to. And, okay. And so the saying the best salespeople in the world don't actually sell, they just talk to people, comes from that kind of experience where people don't like that particular kind of experience. And you'll find, and you can see it online, some of the best internet marketers out there, they literally just talk to people calmly, casually, as though they're having a conversation with them. There's no high pressure sales pitch or tactics or anything like that involved. So just get comfortable talking to people, and the more and more people that you talk to, the better at it you will become.
And just to
I
add,
have just one follow-up point, if I may.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm at a point where a group has really agreed that they want my services. So I'm at the point where I need to submit a proposal. Now, of course, in the proposal, I'm going to have to put my pricing, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But give them a couple of different options.
Right. Yeah.
Give them a couple of different options. So a base version, a premium version,
Yeah.
and then it can be a platinum version.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
for example, and you'll find you might get a significant portion of your market that only wants the base or the premium version. Okay.
Yeah.
But then you'll get somebody who always, with everything they do, they want the best. They don't care how much it costs, they want the best. And so they'll pick that platinum version. And the one time that they pick that platinum version, you'll be praising yourself and saying, thank God I included that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so kindly, Derek. Thank you.
That's all right. My pleasure.
I just want to add one more comment. You know, Derek, you mentioned that people like to be just talked to, right? In the course of talking, when the topic comes up around what do you do, there's another thing you want to think about. Rather than selling, people want to be educated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Educated on what you do, because whenever the time is right for them to potentially need your product or your service, you have now educated them so that they can make a good decision. Because that sales cycle might be short, it might be long. They say in sales, right, it takes 8 touches. Yeah, may or may not be true. It depends on the situation. I would say that if the person's referred to you, it may take 1 touch, okay? Because what that person has done is they have expressed a need to somebody in their network. That network person has teed up the situation. But in order for that person in your network to even know to refer, that person has to be educated.
Yeah.
It's all about education. That's why blogging and all this social media that we're talking about is education. It is solving people's problems before they have the need for your service or product.
Yeah. I do a lot of the educating. It's like crossing into the next step. Yeah.
The key with social media, I still hear from and get asked the question almost on a weekly basis, what is social media and how can I use it for my business? Okay. And the best way that I can answer that is social media is a tool that you use to build your brand, to position you and your brand and your business as an authority in your industry, to build the relationship with your audience, and to get the conversation started. It's a communication tool. Yeah. Okay. It's what the telephone was 60 years ago. Okay. But now it's got visuals. You can put up content. You can put up your profile. You can search for more and more of the people within your target audience. Yeah. It's a communication tool. And the most beautiful part about it is you're not confined to your own area, your own city or your own state, depending on what kind of business that you're in. You can open up new markets, interstate, elsewhere in your country, even overseas. Yeah. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions, or is there anything else that I can help with? Giselle? Yes.
Can we reach out to you? Can we reach out to you directly if we wish?
Yes, absolutely. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search for Derek Mildred and you'll find me on LinkedIn. And just mention today's Zoom call in your request to connect message to me, and I'll understand and of course I'll connect with you.
Great. Thank you so much. This was terrific.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Happy to help. My apologies again for being late.
That's okay. I knew it was a time zone thing. I remember our last little glitch with that. But thank you so much, Derek. We appreciate your time very much. We hope to see you back again on this side of the ocean.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
So with that, we'll wrap up here our time together, and check us out again at boomerworks.org. We have free resources under our training center tab, and also make sure to check out our meetups tab for our upcoming events. And if you have not already done so, please hit our join button to join our community, to receive our bi-monthly to receive our post twice a month, our newsletter to share with you what the upcoming programs are. So we look forward to seeing you again, and I wish everybody a blessed evening.
Okay, thanks a lot. It was great.
Thank you.
A lot
Thank
of
you.
information.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Bye for now.
Good night.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.